practice problems 1 through 8. So in this video, all you're going to do is use it just to check your work. So feel free to pause and rewind and fast forward if you just to check your answers, and then rewind for the problems that you still need. Okay, so here's number 1. I'm going to try and do every step in a different color. So we've got to look which side of the equation are we worried about. Our variables over here, so we've got to isolate our variables. So we're going to say minus 3 and minus 3. So then that leaves us with 4a equals 9. Just kidding, 8. That was ridiculous. Okay, so now we have 4a's equals 8, so we've got to divide both sides by 4. And those divide out, and we're left with a equals 2. And we need to go back and we need to check it. 4a plus 3 equals 11. So 4 times 2 plus 3 is 11. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. And 11 balances out with 11. So yes, our value for a was 2. So remember, if I went too fast, pause, rewind, do what you need to do. Alright, here's number 2. So first, let's go ahead and rewrite it as 8 equals 3r plus a negative 1. So what do I have to do? I've got to get rid of my negative 1, so I'm going to say plus 1 and plus 1. So on the left, I have 9, and on the right, those zeroed out, so I have 3 r's. Now I've got to divide both sides by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. My 3 is divided out, so I think that r has a value of 3. Let's check it. 8 equals 3r. I'm just going to go ahead and write plus negative 1. 8 equals 3 times 3 plus negative 1. So 8 equals 9 plus negative 1. 8 equals 9 and negative 1 is 8. So yes, we balanced out. So my value for r was 3. Make sure you're writing down all of these steps. Don't skip any steps. Okay, next one. 42 equals negative d plus 6. Alright, so I want to get rid of my 6's. So I'm going to subtract 6, or add negative 6, however you want to say it. So that's going to be 36 equals negative 2d, because those zeroed out. Alright, now here, remember what I was saying, sometimes it's impossible to avoid having negative variables. So on this side, to get rid of the negative 2, you have to divide by negative 2, because negative divided by negative is a positive. So we're going to be left with a positive d. So over here, we divide by negative 2. Alright, and so then 36 divided by negative 2 is negative 18. And that equals, remember, negative 2 divided by negative 2 is just positive d. So now let's check. So 42 equals negative 2d plus 6. 42 equals negative 2 times negative 18 plus 6. So 42 equals negative 2 times negative 18 is a positive 36 plus 6. So 42 equals 36 and 6, yes, is 42. We balance out, so yes, that is the correct answer for D. Alright, so now we've got to get rid of these 31s, 31 positives, so we're going to do 31 negatives or minus 31. Now we're going to say 15y equals, because those zeroed out, 61 positives and 31 negatives, or subtract the 2, is 30. Alright, now we've got to divide both sides by 15. So those divided out, so we were left with y, those divided out, y equals 30 divided by 5 is 2. So now let's go back and check. So let's do 15y plus 31 is 61. So 15 times 2 plus 31 has the same weight as 61. So 15 times 2 is 30 plus 31 is 61. So 30 and 31, is 61. And that balances out with 61. So yes, this was the correct value for y. Alright, so this is a different kind of problem that we're going to have to use some distribution. X is divided by 6. So right here, we're going to, instead of, we have plus 4, so we've got to subtract 4 from both sides. So we're left with x over 6 equals 15 minus 4 is 11. Okay, now, since x is divided by 6, to undo that, we have to multiply by 6. Remember, multiplication and division are inverse operations. So really, what you're doing is you're saying 6 over 1 times x over 6, which is 6x divided by 6, and those divide out. So I'm okay with you not actually writing that step, as long as you understand that what you're doing is those are dividing out. So we're left with x has a value as 66. So then let's go back and check it. So let's do x over 6 plus 4 equals 15. So instead of x divided by 6, we're going to say 66 divided by 6 plus 4 is 15. And 66 divided by 6 is 11 plus 4 is 15. And 11 and 4, 15 balances out with 15. So yes, x does have a value of 66. Okay, this next one, remember, we're not going to freak out because it has fractions. So here we have a third y plus a fourth is 5/12. So really what we want to do is get rid of that fourth. So we're going to subtract a fourth from both sides. But remember, when you're subtracting and adding with fractions, you really need to have a common denominator. So we're actually going to change that fourth to 12ths. So 1/4 is equivalent to 3/12. So what we're left with is a third y. Now those zeroed out. 1/3 y is equivalent to 5/12 minus 3/12 is 2/12. Alright, now let's go ahead at this point, let's go ahead and simplify. So we have 1/3 y equals, let's simplify that 2/12 to 1/6. So, alright, so let's look at 1/3 y. Remember, what that really means is, well, 1/3 times y over 1, so that's really y over 3. Okay, so a third, multiplying something by a third and dividing by a third does the same thing. So, what we're going, you could write it as, why do I keep doing that? You can write it as a third y, or you can write it as y over 3. Either way, to undo that, we still have to multiply by 3 over 1. So over here, we're going to multiply by 3 over 1 as well. So what happens is you have 3 over 1 times 1 over 3. Those are reciprocals, so they multiply out, because when you multiply them, you've got, or they divide out 3 over 3, which is just 1 y. So 3 over 1 times 1/3 really just becomes 1, and we're going to leave it as y. So y equals 1 times 3 is 3, and 6 times 1 is 6. So really, y y is equivalent to 1/2. I know that was maybe a little bit much, a little confusing, but I want you to watch it again if you're still confused. So we think y has a value of 1/2. Now let's check it. So instead of 1/3 times y, we're going to say 1/3 times 1/2 plus 1/4 equals 5/12. So 1/3 times 1/6. Remember, when you're multiplying with fractions, you multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So we have a 6 plus 1/4 is equal to 5/12. Now when we're adding fractions, remember you've got to have a common denominator. So I'm going to change all of this to 12ths. So a 6th is equal to 2/12, and a 4th is equal to 3/12. So we think that all that together is 5/12. So let's go ahead. 2/12 and 3/12 is 5/12. And does 5/12 balance out with 5/12? Yes. So our answer for y was 1/2. All right, next one. So we've got to let's rewrite it as 15 equals a/3 plus -2. So now I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I'm going to write 17 equals a divided by 3. So how do I get rid of the divide by 3? I've got to multiply both sides by 3. Because remember, those really just divide out. So we're left with a equals 17 times 3 is 41. Just kidding. It is 51. So we think a has a value of 51. So let's go ahead and plug it back in. 15 equals a divided by 3 minus 2. So 15 equals, let's do 51 divided by 3 minus 2. So 15 equals 51 divided by 3 is 17 minus 2, or plus 2 negatives. So 15 has the same weight as 15. Yes, we were correct. Our solution is a equals 55. I mean 51. Okay, last one. So let's get rid of our -7. So let's add 7 to both sides. So we're left with 7y equals 7. And let's divide both sides by 7. So y has a value of 1. Let's plug that in and check it. So let's do -7 plus 7y equals 0. -7 plus 7 times 1 equals 0. So -7 plus 7 equals 0. 7 plus 7, -7 plus 7 does equal 0, so 0 balances out. Yes, y has a value of 1. So I know that was a lot. So if there are problems that you're still struggling with, please watch the video again and again. But if you still really are having trouble with it, then for sure let's talk about it in class.